Hey guys, check out my new phone! Just kidding, it's actually a controller, but it's about the size of a phone, if you can believe that. What we have here is a controller from Borchum, but it's different because it's cheaper than almost everything else out there. It's $50, and as you can see, they've got rid of basically all the parts, and they've left you with nothing but only the buttons, and essentially, that's all you need. Anyway, it should be pretty straightforward. Just press the buttons to get the moves to come out. But we're gonna go for a little challenge today. I'm gonna do something I don't usually do. I'm gonna play a grappler. I've played Zangief before, but I've never played him in Street Fighter 6. Before we start, I should just point out that this was sent to me for the purposes of making this video, but I haven't been instructed to say anything specific about it, and all opinions are my own. If you're a character like Terry here on the right, all you have to do is quarter circle, 2 buttons like this, and then you can send a move out. But if you're Zangief, his signature move is actually done with 1, 2, 3, 4 button presses. Because it's just like an arcade stick, you have to roll the arcade stick in a full circle. So forward, down, back, back, up. It's quite a lot more button presses and a lot more finger gymnastics than you would have to do on an arcade stick. So first of all, let's try our basic movement. Left, right, down, up. And I've got my punch button over here. And in order to do my spinning pile driver, I'll have to do a full circle. So, full circle like this. Let's try the move. Easy peasy. It's actually not so bad. When I first tried out the Wazard layout, I actually discovered, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, discovered there's something that's really, really difficult. We actually have to do this 360 motion twice. So I'll actually have to do 3 full 60 motions, and as you can see with my fingers, it's like nearly impossible. So let's jump straight in and see if we can do it. Okay, obviously that wasn't going to work, but what is the real reason? With this character, if you do a 360 motion the first time, can you see he actually jumps up into the sky? So if I try to do 2 of them in a row, halfway through he will jump up in the sky. But surely there's a solution to this, because this is not a leverless problem. Well, the boring answer is that actually you do the inputs while you're jumping. Some people can do it while standing on the ground, but it's really difficult. The question is, can I actually do it? I need to jump, and then I need to do 2 360 motions. Ready, set, go. No. Wait, I did it! Second try. That was easy. I don't know what I was afraid of. It's hard. I did it the second try, but I can't do it anymore. Ha! Okay, so I actually did it backwards. I think sometimes you just have to figure out what is it easier for you to do. Left, middle, forward, index finger, or index, middle, ring finger. But now I want to draw your attention to something that's actually kind of painful. Listen to this. Put my mic down here so you can hear. Quite unpleasant. So in true ultra-cheap controller fashion, they haven't really made it desk-worthy from the start, but they do give you accessories to make it super easy to fix. Because in this package, sorry, I already took it out of the package. In this package, it actually comes with a million of these, not a million, it comes with a large number of these gummy things. So we're going to stick these on here in really strategic places. But by putting these on the base of the controller, you can see, beautiful. Now it slides around only a little bit, but it does not sound scratchy, and it's not destroying my wooden desk. Actually, this is not even real wood, it's fake. Now we can get back into the game and not worry about the controller running around or anything. Now, even though I was able to do the super combo like once, it's really difficult for me to do it again. There is another solution, and it's to just use a different button, because as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and then having to reuse your middle finger again, so having to do double duty with this finger, that's what makes this circular motion really difficult. But, as you can see, even when I press up over here, this button is flashing, and it's because this button is also up. That makes it not tournament legal out of the box, so you'll have to choose in the settings, just make sure you disable the one that you're not using, but actually, I can actually do my circular motions like this. I screwed it up. Okay. So as you can see, having a separate appendage for each finger makes this motion significantly easier. I mean, this is what you do when you're bored at your desk. This is what you do all the time, right? But the question is it actually easier in-game if I use my thumb to do this move? Let's try it. No, I still screwed it up. Okay, got it. Now it's time to try the super combo. Let's see if it's easier to do using my left thumb to jump. Nope. Try again. Super duper easy. That is super natural. Not supernatural, but it's very, very natural. And the reason it works so well is because you're just rolling your fingers like this. You never have to reuse a finger immediately. When I was using the up button over here, I had to go from middle to index and then middle again. So it's just like middle, index, middle, middle, index, middle. And that's really confusing for your fingers. If you're not familiar with these controllers, I do have a separate video going into all the pros and cons of these cheap leverless controllers, but it also talks about the software which is used in a lot of these controllers, and it's called GP2040CE. It's actually made, it's open source, it's actually made by the community, and as a result, it actually makes it really easy to personalize it to your heart's content. It's probably a good time to mention that these are just regular keyboard switches. The key switches come from that super well-known company, LED Bog. I have no idea what company this is. Anyway, these are standard MX style key stems, so you can put any key switches on here that you want, but obviously the ones that it comes with are translucent, which is fantastic because you can actually see the lights. Also, in the package, you get these extra buttons if you want to use extra wide buttons instead of these ones over here. Apparently, this is for removing the switches, so obviously, unplug it from your computer before doing this. Don't do what I'm doing. Okay, it seems that they come out quite easily. They are hot swap. They are not soldered to the PCB, which is fantastic because when they're soldered to the PCB, it means that you can't really remove them without unsoldering them, which would be quite a lot of hazardous extra work. But as you can see, just standard MX style casing, so you could just put whatever keyboard switches in here that you want. But now I think is a good time to talk about whether you should actually be using keyboard switches instead of regular buttons. The main competitor to this product is actually Haute42's other controller. This one is the S16. It's assumed that if you're playing with a controller like this, that you're coming from a regular keyboard. So if you play on a regular keyboard and you play like FPS games, then you may have like WASD controls up here and you may press space to jump. And for a lot of people, they'll be using their left thumb because usually they're using like a mouse when they're playing FPS games. So I understand why they've set it up like this by default, but personally the first thing I would do is to just reset it so that the jump button is over here, because I'm not going to be using this one over here. As a jump button, I'll reset this as like an extra shortcut so I can do things like drive impact or whatever. So all the buttons that you need, but the question is, should you be going for regular style buttons or should you be using keyboard style buttons? Now first let's talk about the advantages. There's the fact that because they're a lot smaller, you can actually fit them much closer together. If you've got regular buttons, look, there's kind of a limit to how close you can have them together. But when you've got them like this, they really are no bigger than the key switch themselves. If you just remove all the keycaps, you could actually just press the key switches themselves. I believe this style of gameplay is called no cap. As you can see, the human fingers are actually quite close together. There's no need to like spread them apart just so that you can use arcade style buttons. The next benefit of using keyboard keys is actually you can press multiple buttons at the same time very, very easily. Not just vertical buttons like this. In a game like Street Fighter, if I press these two buttons together, I actually do a throw. But something you can do on a keyboard style controller that's quite cool is you can actually press side-by-side buttons together at the same time with a single finger. Now, I can't think of specific situations why you might want to do that. I don't know, maybe you're doing some crazy weird option select and you only have one finger to press both buttons at the same time. But if you really wanted to, you could actually do this. And you can actually press two buttons at the same time with a single finger. And I guess the other main reason why you'd use a controller like this is just if you're familiar with it from playing on a keyboard like this. You're probably just used to playing on keys like this. You might like the sound of certain switches. You might like the feel of certain switches. There are certainly a lot of key switches out there and they feel different if you're going to be using them like this. Arcade style button caps do feel different to keycaps. If you know exactly what you like from a standard keyboard, you can bring it over to a controller like this. Here I have my Cherry MX Blue. Of course, the issue with a regular key switch like this is that now you can't see the light. The sweet music of clicky switches. I can't get the MX switch out anymore. Okay, got it. Now, a few things I'm not super keen on is the fact that these are regular key switches, and as you can see, they are massive, like super tall. And so even though it's a really thin controller, when I've got my palm on here like this, you can see that I have to lift my hand pretty high up to rest on the key switches. So if I were going to be using this on a desk, I would really recommend having a wrist rest or just hovering your fingers over the controller. The other thing is that, as you can see, it's not very well protected, and because these keys are just kind of jutting out the top, if you don't have a case for this, then when it's in your bag, you are highly likely to like pop caps off accidentally. But anyway, enough talking about this controller. Let's go online and play a match. All right, I have 0 LP. As you can see, I have never played a match with Zangief before.
Here comes a new challenger.
Alright, I'm going to be playing classic Zangief, but I have no idea how because I have never used this character in this game. I'm going to try only using WASD controls instead of using my thumb to jump. Yes! I did it once. Okay, that's a success for me. I don't even need to do anything else anymore as long as I got one pile driver. Oh no, I can't do the... I really panic trying to do the WASD 360. Okay, that's not a pile driver, but it looks like one. My success rate with the pile driver is kind of 10% or so at the moment. No! I just wanted to do the super! Ah, okay, you win. Listen up, I hope you liked this look at the B16 by Haute42, aka Borcham. I think this is an incredible controller for the price. Only $50, and it does give you all the things you need, including these little rubber pads to prevent it from scratching up your desk. Tons of buttons and lots of flexibility. I do like that both these buttons are huge and they also give you extra pads. So if you don't like the default small ones that it comes with, you can actually just put these extra wide ones on here and you can have a wider button over here. I also like that it's not right in the middle. I like that you've got a slightly, it's not very split apart, but it's ever so slightly split apart so you can have your jump button right over here on the right or on the left. And even if you wanted to do swap between jumping with your right thumb and your left thumb, it's super easy to do so because look, it's so easy to reach this button even from the right side over here. It's not really much of a stretch at all. Listen, with a controller at $50, you really can't fault it, but I do recommend that you check out my other video where I go into my general thoughts on these cheap limitless controllers if you are interested in picking one of these up. If you have been playing fighting games for years on a regular keyboard style controller and you actually prefer something like this, or maybe you play rhythm games and you actually prefer these keyboards key switches instead of big giant arcade style buttons, then there are plenty of reasons, even not for fighting games, why you might want to choose this instead. And again, I can't say this enough times. $50. Thing is unbelievably cheap. Listen, make sure you check out this video next. I've been NihongoGamer. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you real soon.